our group will expose three cities, which are Buenos Aires, Santiago de Chile, and Montevideo, Uruguay. We will start with living in Buenos Aires. To begin with, it is one of the most beautiful and important cities of the continent and is the best second city of quality of life. In Buenos Aires, it can reach very cold temperatures, but you will never see snow. So in this city, you can experience a lot of heat and a lot of cold, but never snow. It's one of the cities where people have their very night routines. They like to dine very late, shop very late. Buenos Aires is a business city, a city where people are always moving from side to side. Now, I will talking about the cost of living. The cost of living in Buenos Aires is 9% cheaper than in Bogota. Buenos Aires may be a good place to stay, but we must not forget that is the capital, so the prices are higher than in the rest of Argentine cities. Longing between 450 and $550 is what it will cost you to rent an apartment in the Argentine capital. If you prefer to live in a three-room apartment, the rent will be between 660 and $880. Feeding, eating out in Buenos Aires is not very economical, especially when compared to other cities in the country, or even the South American continent, a clear example of the fact that Buenos Aires has higher living costs than Bogota. For example, is a bottle of water in Argentina it costs $1.29. In Bogota it costs $0.27, and that would make more products. Transportation in Buenos Aires is surprisingly inexpensive. For example, a one-way trip by subway or bus can cost you $40.40, and then you also have the option to pay $20 and get a free travel pass for a month. So the next point are emblematic places. This is the slide. One of the most emblematic places in Buenos Aires are Obelisco, considered a national historic monument, the Metropolitan Cathedral, architectural work, first seat of the Catholic Church. Another one, Casa Rosada, symbol of Buenos Aires, seat of the national seat. Another emblematic place is Museo Nacional de Bellas Artes, the biggest artistic heritage in the country, like Picasso, among other artists. Another place is Recoleta Cemetery, has very important protagonists of Argentine history. And another emblematic places are Galerías Pacífico, is one of the most traditional shopping centers in the city, where prestigious brands are found. The another slide is about the transportation. There are different alternatives for Argentines or tourists to travel in the middle of the Buenos Aires. These cities has taxis, minibuses, metro, trams, Remits. Remits, this is a driver who doesn't pick up anyone in the street, but by application, but by application. And bicycles, it has different means of transport. And the last one, the last Buenos Aires slide, is about education. Argentina has more than 25,000 foreign students for Latin America, Europe, and United States. Since 2007, the number of foreign students who decided to study in Argentina has increased by 45%. Most students go to Argentina for their high level education and low cost undergraduate and graduate degrees. So finally, we can conclude that the prices to study in the universities of Buenos Aires are cheaper than in the Colombian universities. Buenos Aires offers opportunities to live in a country with a great culture offer and tourist attractions. The quality of education in certain areas are some of the reasons why more and more Colombians choose Argentina as an education destination, but not for living because of its high cost of living.
Okay, next city is Santiago, Chile. We chose Santiago, Chile because it's one of the most famous cities in South America. It's known by many things, by many cultures, by many things, politics, different things. So that's one of the most important cities in South America. Next slide is business climate. It's the easiest country to do business in Latin America. Different research have said that Santiago, Chile is one of the easiest country, especially Chile, but Santiago is one of the most important because have increasingly uh, improved their ability to do business and about the global competitiveness report. Chile is the best in Latin America, just up to Brazil, Mexico, and they have the best quality of life in Latin America. They have the best quality of life because if you have seen many years ago, many Colombians go, especially to Valparaiso, Santiago, and other parts of Chile because they have good quality. They have very good lifestyle. They have very good universities, transportation. They have so many good things that uh, let us go to Santiago. So let's next slide. I'm going to talk about two important topics. First one is transportation. They have Transantiago, which is one similar to Transmilenio. They have metro, urban buses, taxis, Uber, Cabify. Just they are platforms. Transportation from airport to Santiago, and they have so many public bicycles. They have the governments have create so many roles and so many things that improve lifestyle in Chile, especially in Santiago, because they have all of those public bicycles and not just public bicycles. There are so many things that are public and they can use them to go to the park, to go to the work, to go to study, for studying. So that's important for them. And universities is one of the most important points in Santiago. They have University of Chile, University of Santiago, and Public Catholic University of Chile, and many other universities. The most famous are University of Chile and Catholic University is one of the best universities in Latin America and one of the best in the world. That's one of the reasons why in Pacific Alliance between Colombia, Mexico, and Peru, and obviously Chile, there are so many students that go to that university and study because we have an alliance and they can get studies for free. So it's one of the best universities. Next slide is I'll talk about cost of living. I'm going to compare it with some points with Bogota, especially Colombia, especially Bogota, and they have first one a bedroom in Santiago is almost to 277 US dollars. So it's very similar to Colombia. They don't have very good, very high difference. Mobilization, buses, metro, they have per month 56 US dollars. It's a little bit more expensive than in Colombia, especially in Bogota. It's a little bit expensive. But if we compare it, for example, with Barranquilla, it's almost the same. Next one is lunch per day. It's 2.52 US dollars. It's so it's not so expensive. It's very cheap. So you can get a very important lunch with just $2. And we have dinner per $3. It's almost the same than in Colombia if you get a very good quality of dinner. And we have the next slide. We have places to visit. Tourism is one of the most important points in Santiago. It's one of the most visited cities in Chile because they have a very good quality of biodiversity, animals, especially biodiversity. As you see in the first picture, they can see mountains in in front of them, in the coast. So it's very important for go sightseeing if you wanna go. Gran Torre de Santiago. If you search in Google or if you search in other website, you see that that tower is one of the most known, not only in Santiago that, but in Chile. It's one of the biggest in the world. It's one of the most technological in the world. So that's a good place to visit if you go to Santiago. Parque O'Higgins is very good park because if you go to the park, you have in front of that park, you have a stadium of O'Higgins team. You have Fantasylandia. It's a diversion park. It's almost the same that Mundo Aventura in Bogota or Salitre Mágico in Bogota. So it's very similar and it's good to go. Cerro Santa Lucia, as you see in the second picture, we have that cerro. If you can go to to that transport, you can get that transport there. And last one is a museum. They don't have a lot of museum, but that's one of the most important museums in Santiago. Next slide is conclusions. I'm going to conclude that Santiago is one of the most technological city in South America. They have increasingly improved last last years, especially technologically way because they have invest a lot of money, especially governments before Piñera. They have invest so many money in that. They have very good quality of education. They are known because they have a very good quality with Argentina. They have, as I said before, they have public and private universities. So that's important for going. If you want to study there, you can get study for free. It's a good place to do business. As I said before about global competitiveness report, they have so many good things that you can get in that city, and it's easy for investors because they don't have a lot of taxes, and it's not an expensive city. It's not as much as expensive as Mexico City or other expensive cities in South America and Latin America. So it's a very good place to go, and that's it.
Okay, so the program the Uruguay is promote the improvement of systemic competitiveness and produce the transportation in order to ensure productive and innovative economic develop with quality and environmental and territorial balance. So the important aspect in this national plan of products transformation and competitiveness is design and implement a function to promote an attractive strategic investment. The other important aspect in business climate is depend the link between investment incentive develop objective. Okay, about the systematic design and implement post investment services. Okay, so the other important aspect is adapt princess about to the requirements of a strategic investment about the different specialization, direct, close contact with the potential investors. Okay, about the lifestyle, the transportation in Uruguay, in Montevideo, Uruguay, there are different types of the middle of the transportation. The first one is the bus. This is the network is made up of more than 150 lines. The other important transport is the train, the train, Uber, obviously, and taxis. This is the other important middle of the transportation in this city. Okay, about the universities, some public universities are free, and the private universities offer a credit payment that is adapted to the circumstances for the students and each family. For example, at the University of Montevideo, an agreement between this university and the Banco Santander, the student access current account free for change through which they have downgrade visa electronic. They make payments to the university. For example, the payment methods those who pay the first installed in ballots can access some discount. For example, in April, they receive 19% discount. In July, 18%. In August, 70%. And that varies depending of the month. Okay, so about the cost of living, the summary of the cost of living in Montevideo. Estimated monthly cost of the family for people is $1,018.355. Approximated monthly cost of the single person is $50,217. About the cost of living in Montevideo is more expensive than in 19% of the cities in Latin America, number 5 of 14. Okay, so the cost of the living in Montevideo in 6% of city in the world. The number 161 of 245. Okay, in Montevideo, there are principal place of to visit. The first one is the Plaza Independencia. Is the most important plaza in Montevideo, in the center of the statue of General Jose Gervasio Artigas. The second is La Rambla. They say that it is the favorite ride of the people in Montevideo. It is begins of the Rampa Sur and extends 20 kilometers to Carrasco. And you can see the other is the Palace Salvo, and is the most emblematic building in Montevideo with 105 meters and 27 floors. It was opened in 1922 for 3 years, and it was the tallest tower in South America. Okay, so and finally, the principal import aspect in this case in Montevideo, Uruguay, is the first is recognizing for this openness to immigration at a social level. Uruguay is recognized not only do for gains choose the country for its authentic characteristics, but also because they receive withdraw discrimination and with increasing agile reception policies. So the second is it stands out in Latin America for being egalitarian. So the country of 3.4 million inhabitants is a symbol of social peace, established democracy and inclusion. For this reason, despite its modestly, for a high degree of advanced garden. So the characteristic of this country, it have also been strained, driven by the country's economic growth, and which managed to translate into the growth at the gross domestic, sorry, in product GPD per capita. So allowing Uruguay to be the economy with the best index in Latin America in this regard. And finally, so offered universal and quality public education